what's going on? This is Marc Lopes from Let Us Pray, ex-Metal Church, and Ross the Boss Band, and we're blowing it up here on MetalgodZradiO.
And the new band is Let Us Pray.
Yep. Prey.
It's not that new, right? 2016 was the first EP, is that right?
Yeah. It had to take the back burner for a while because of obviously the other things I was doing. So, we're representing it to the world.
Speaking of the other things that you were doing, how is Ross the Boss? Are you in somewhat contact with him?
Oh yeah. The band's done. We can't play anymore. As far as that part goes. And, but he's doing better, he's in definitely better spirits and, functioning a lot better than he was. So that's good. Quality of life is much improved. So that's really all that matters. So. Absolutely.
After your departure from Metal Church, what specific creative or personal factors made you feel that returning to Let Us Pray was not just an option, but a necessity?
Main goal was which was always the main goal from the very beginning of the concept of the band, was to do something that was unique, that was truly just ours. Really not following any specific rule or specific genre. But we had a sound, hence the genre name that I came up with, which was kind of done by accident as a joke, but it's sticking and I love it, actually. So there in itself, we invented our own thing, and that's pretty much the whole concept of what we're trying to do. Obviously everything's, can't reinvent the wheel, but we obviously want to do our own thing and have our own identity. And that's pretty much the path, and just be as relentless as possible. Intensity is the name. So,
what is your favorite lineup or era of Metal Church?
Oh, that's easy. First two albums. That's all there is to me.
You described Let Us Pray as your unfinished business. What ideas or ambitions were left unresolved that you're now determined to fully realize?
Unfinished business is that we never really fully conceptualized what we were trying to do. I mean, at the time when we did the record and stuff, it was a kind of a long process. We were into different things. And I think we were still trying to find our identity. And as time's gone on, because we've never stopped writing, we were always writing in the background and just never had time to do it properly or put it out properly or go out and play it properly. So it's kind of been this accumulated idea that, finally can be let go. And I think the goal was to try to accumulate as much notoriety as I could to make it more visible to more people. And that's kind of why the timing worked out the way it did. It worked out the way it is. It did what it was supposed to do, and here we are.
How did you become a vocalist? Do you play any instruments?
I play everything, a little bit of everything. My first thing was drums. I started with drums when I was real young. And it was weird. I was always in choir and stuff like that. So I sang anyways. I always loved to sing. And then I just kind of got sick of, at the time when I was a kid, singers were in and out. And I just decided, because I also started writing music, I pretty much was always had my hands in everything from day one. And I was just like, you know what? There's always all good drummers around here, but there's no, vocalist really. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to do this. I started taking lessons, and I just, I like to be out there and run around like a crazy man, and it worked.
Who's your first musical idol?
My first, Kiss. Just, I think it was the image more than anything. But my real first music icon was Iron Maiden. Yeah. When I heard Iron Maiden for the first time, it changed everything. Yeah. That's when I was like, I want to do that. That's cool. And watching Number of the Beast and Bruce running out there, and that whole vibe was just something that drew me in from day one. So, and here I am still doing it, and I'm very, very grateful.
Is that the one album you always return to with Iron Maiden, from obviously the wide discography?
Yeah, man. It's interesting because when that album came out, I remember, obviously, there was no internet back then, so it's trading stuff. And I remember that. And then Peace of Mind came out, and somebody said, hey, they have other albums before. And then I got Killers. And I was like, for a long time, I'm in totally different style of singing. And it's interesting because now it's a tie. Number of the Beast, Killers. Very strange, but those albums really, if I go back, those are the albums that I go to. The rawness of those two albums, it's just, they can't even compare. I love the history of how they were made and that old school mentality and I don't know. And you can, when you hear about it, you listen to the record and you can hear the little nuances and the things that made it so real and awesome. And I go back to that to get that reminder because we're so involved in everything technical and in technology now that human element a lot of times goes missing. Yeah. So it's good to go back to that to remind yourself, hey, you are human. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Though some might say Steve Harris with his crazy bass lines is more than human.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what it was is Steve Harris's fingers are metal, right? It wasn't bass. It was the definition of that sound. It was, well, who else could really do that, right? It was, who did you ever see anybody doing air bass until Iron Maiden? Really?
Right.
It's true. Oh. To this day, still at the concert, we'll be doing what are you doing? Air drums, air guitar, air bass. Well, we're doing them all. We switch them up depending on the song.
Of course. Your term, cybertech thrashcore. Say that 3 times quickly, right?
Yep, because it's true. That's the beauty of it. Hey.
It suggested deliberate rejection of traditional genre boundaries. How do you prevent that fusion from becoming unfocused or overindulgent?
Ooh, I like that. It's a good question. That's a good question because it definitely, you can fall into that trap. I think. And again, it was kind of interesting because when we were getting ready to do all the press and stuff like that in the PR, and it was funny, on the bottom of the sheet that we were working on, it said genre. And I was like, oh gosh, what genre? Can't just be metal. I mean, metal is generalized, you know what I mean? It's just like saying human, So as a joke, I was like, oh, let's do the old Man-O-War lyric scrambler. You put a bunch of words together and put them together, and you see what you get. So I put together a bunch of different genres that we threw influence from. And long story short, I came up with that, and I was like, wow, that actually sounds really cool because it really nails it because. I'm really into tech. I love industry. I'm into hardcore, grindcore, metalcore, thrash metal, prog metal, tech metal. I mean, they're all metal. So don't need to put the word metal. And I mean, it was there's no pigeonhole there because there's so many different things that you could grab from with that. And that's how we feel we I mean, who knows? Who the hell knows, man? We're just going to do what we're going to do.
What have you never been asked before in an interview?
Oh, God. I don't know. Oh, God, that's a long list, man. I don't know. I don't know. Shoot. I have no idea.
Your vocal approach spans extreme styles from death growls to Halford-inspired highs. How do you decide what serves a song versus that showcase? What showcases ability?
That's a good question. See, there you go. You're asking questions that aren't normal. That's great. It's funny because I mean, and probably a lot of people too. I'm definitely have in the past been a victim of trying to throw as much as you can into something to try to, show off or show your ability or whatever. And sometimes it doesn't really suit the song. Totally. It's easy to get caught up in that sometimes. But now I'm really aware of it, and I will just serve the purpose of the song. Like this song, there's no high crazy stuff in this song, which I'm known for. There's one little thing that's tagged at the end, which I put in there, didn't know if I was going to keep it. And I was like, yeah, it actually does work, and I'll keep that. And it is what it is. Who knows? The next one might be all like Painkiller or something. Who knows? So whatever suits the song and whatever I'm trying to say, that's what goes there.
The new material leans heavily into themes like AI, psychological warfare, and media manipulation. What real-world events or observations most directly shape these lyrical directions?
Now it's kind of funny. A lot of the stuff that I write about, I've been writing about for years, way before it's even hit what the main media has to say today. So it's kind of like interesting to see a lot of things happening that I was already talking about or writing about or researching about. And a lot of those things that used to be just crazy conspiracy nonsense or science fiction or whatever the case may be, there's real base to them now. And that's more scary than anything, because now they're not just it's not just a story. It's reality. And it's very eye-opening, and I like to write about that metaphorically and let the listener translate it however they want, because I'm not here to pick a side. I'm here to just say what I want to say and how I want to say it. That's it.
In Nameless Blood, you critique the societal impact of misinformation and desensitization. Do you see metal as an effective medium for confronting these issues, or more as a reflection of them?
Another good question. I think it's both. And my thing is this: everybody's entitled to an opinion, and that's fine. But what bothers me is that if one person says something and the other person doesn't agree with it, to me, you're both right, because that's your opinion and that's your perspective of it. I think everybody should have a intelligent and civil conversation about it. My favorite thing is to agree to disagree. And and a lot of conversations end like that. And I'd rather it be that way, because, obviously we are fueled by a lot of outside sources. They want us conflicting, and to me, I would rather have a conversation with somebody. And I love it when somebody has a really strong standing opinion about something, no matter what. I want to know why. What makes you think that way? I want to know. I want to listen. That's what a lot of people don't do. They don't listen. We got to listen. I want to listen. What are you trying to say? Okay. And as far as the song comes down, in Nameless Blood is basically, it's an accumulation of all this information that keeps getting thrown at us all the time, and people are so quick to grab it as truth, and sometimes it results in real world consequences, right? And at the end of the day, what if that wasn't true at all, and that wasn't the story? You just went with it because you were fucking acting on emotion, right? And a lot of people do that, and the consequence is real. Somebody might be dead. Somebody might be hurt. Their lives are ruined. You can't go back and apologize for that shit. Oh, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Nah. It doesn't work like that. And that's what that's why it's intense, because it's real, you know?
You've embraced AI not only thematically, but also as a creative tool. Where do you personally draw the line between artistic enhancement and over-reliance on technology?
Yeah, that's a good one. You know, it's like, I always look at it as like, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, okay? And I remember when the prequels came out and Jar Jar Binks was there, right? And everybody was like, oh my God, that's like the worst thing ever. Well, yeah, maybe if you weren't a kid, right? Okay, that's cool. But, you know, here's George with this brand new toy. And he was playing with it, and it was really cool what he did at the time, especially, right? Think about it. So you'll see that a lot. You'll see a lot of people, they get these new toys. I know that I'm like, oh my God, every other week, I'm like, wow, I can do this now. This is really cool. But some people, like, for instance, I'm not a painter. I'm a designer. I'm a graphic designer. I'm a video editor. I'm a creator. But I'm not a painter. I'm not an illustrator or anything like that. And I have nothing but respect for that art, you know, and I would never take anything away from it. But, you know, if I need something that might require a little bit of that, I might use it as a helping hand to get to where I need to get to. Musically, I have not touched AI. I think it's pretty wild. I mean, I've fucked around with it a couple of times just for fun to see. And it was kind of scary because I was like, oh my gosh, wow, that's like really cool. And you kind of like sit there and go, wow, you know, where are we going with this? You know what I mean? Where are we going with this? This is kind of sketchy, because I'm like, something that took me 6 months, I just did this in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, wow, you know, is that good or is it bad? Depends on the application, I guess. You know, I don't know. I mean, if I have a commercial I got to make for a video and I need, you know, music for it, what's the difference if I create it on AI or I go and use a stock piece of music, right? Same difference to me as far as things like that go. Now, the guy that makes the music, if he didn't get paid, that sucks, obviously, just like us. But we're musicians. We're used to that, sure. You know? So, yeah, I mean, I really think it depends on the application. It really does. You know, I'm seeing all these great artists now doing all these. I love anime. Got all these crazy, wild anime things coming out done by real anime creators. Sure. Now, instead of these guys are creating their stuff in the same manner, but they're using the AI as the tool, and it's coming out, the production pipeline is like 20 times faster and more cost efficient. So you can see why they would go in that direction. Does that take away from their creativity? No. I don't think so, because the AI is learning from their style, learning from their story, learning from their script. It's just another type of tool, no different than when Auto-Tune came out and Pro Tools came out and Photoshop came out.
Absolutely.
Right? The printing press was considered the devil, right? Because the written word was all sacred, right? Yeah. Same difference. It's just accelerating way faster.
Right. The wheel. Right? The wheel.
Exactly. The bow and arrow to the gun. You know, projectiles, explosions, the whole 9 yards. The thing is that I think what's freaking people out is there's never been a time in history where the transition has been so fast and exponential. It just keeps accelerating way faster than anybody ever thought. And that's what freaks everybody. You know? It's kind of kooky. Like, the perfect example, I'm working on this new Let Us Pray tune that I'm really digging, and I've been jammed. It's like this, and it's kind of funny. Literally a 20-second section of verses, probably like 30 seconds worth of verse material. I've been laboring over it for 2 weeks, trying to distinguish the pattern and how I want it to go rhythmically to put a point across the point that I'm trying to make. And somebody goes, you should just use AI and figure it out. And I'm like, no.
Oh, right.
You know, because that 2 weeks of laborish work that I'm putting into that's the emotion that's going to go into that when it's complete will carry over. because I can't tell AI the emotion that I want. It's going to give you a fake parameter of, you don't know how I feel. I can tell you how I feel, but you're not going to be able to emote that feeling. So, I mean, I wish it came faster, but that's part of the process, you know. And that's the part. The creative process for me is my favorite part. Right. That's my favorite part. It'd be like, oh my God, this is, you finally, it's done, and like, yes, and then you move on to the next one, right? So,
the chase.
It's the drug. It's the drug. Really is. The creative is the drug. When you finish one, it's off to the next. Don't, like, you know, just like touring. I call it the curse. You know, I've been touring for 10 years and now I'm not touring right now. And I'm out of my mind because you get addicted to that connection in touring, you know? And so, yeah, it's the same thing. You know, I'm glad that I have this creative outlet now because I've kind of just taken that and now I'm focusing it on this, and I'm doing all kinds of other recording projects for the meantime too, you know? So.
Well, I have a couple more questions, but you tell me, are we out of time?
We got like 6 minutes.
Let Us Pray has evolved from a two-man project into a full live force. How has that transition influenced the way you write and structure music?
Well, it's still two-man. We're working on putting the live lineup together now. We probably won't play out till like fall, most likely, because we have a ton more recording stuff and building up the brand and the idea of the band to the public. Yeah, we just write. You know, in the past, I could be honest, there's definitely been times where we've written and we're like, how the hell are we going to play this live? Because, you know, it would need like 9 people. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you don't think about it. Like, oh, well, it's got this part and this part. And it's like, oh, man, you know, wow, this is going to be, even though we have done it and created it. Yeah, I mean, whatever. You know, now with tracking and different elements that we could use, there's definitely a little bit more ability to do stuff that might have seemed impossible in the past. But I don't write for that in mind really much. So, you know. So,
well, thank you for your time. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with anybody that might be listening, watching, or reading this?
Yeah, man, I just want to say, you know, thanks for the support for all the things that I've done and will do. And, you know, supporting something like this matters because it's new and it's original. It's not, you know, a legacy act like I've been, you know, very fortunate to do. So if you're into new things, this is new. It's not something, you know, it's different. So it takes a little bit more time to ingest. So be patient.